Live from clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30, getting results. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Justin Warmuth. Our top story tonight, widows of firefighters across the state left battling for benefits meant to ease the pain of their loss.
Florida lawmakers passed a law in 2019 that provides line of duty benefits to first responders who are diagnosed with 21 types of cancer. But as investigator Lewis Bolden found, some agencies are denying it.
I don't even know 100% why I'm being denied these benefits, but it's obscene. It's not okay.
Teresa Geld's husband, Jay, served as a firefighter for nearly 40 years before being diagnosed with pancreatic and testicular cancer.
Devastating. It was just, it was a roller coaster all the time. You know what you're fighting, but you're also fighting for every day.
Jay's battle ended in December of 2023, but for Teresa, the fight continues. Despite 38 years of service, 30 with the city of Melbourne, the benefits she expected as Jay's widow were denied.
I was angry. I was extremely angry. I was angry for him.
In 2019, Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law Senate Bill 426 for firefighters. It provides a one-time cash payment of $25,000 after an initial diagnosis, and cancer treatment is covered. Geld says the city of Melbourne paid those benefits, but when Jay died, the city's insurance company denied the $75,000 death benefit that's supposed to be guaranteed under the law.
But it made me angry that for 30 years he worked for a department that he gave everything to, and it's just being denied. It's, without any real good explanation.
A spokesperson for the city sent us a statement saying the separate cancer benefit claim is still at issue and the city is not in a position to comment further at this time. But the union president is commenting.
We've always, as a union, took the stance that the benefit should be paid.
Ryan Young is the president of Melbourne's Professional Firefighters Union. He says Jay's story is part of a troubling trend. Why did you decide to do this interview?
We would like to get the story out. We want people to understand what's going on.
Attorney Jeff Bickler, who represents firefighter families, says the denials are happening all too often.
I was not shocked because we've seen this all over the state now. I mean, the widows are not getting paid the benefit they're entitled to for a variety of reasons, based primarily on ambiguities in the statute.
Jay Geld's name is honored on memorials for fallen firefighters, while Teresa continues fighting for his benefits. She says the fight is bigger than her own loss.
And the only thing that I could say is if we don't fight for it, then this is just going to become a bigger problem.
We shared this story with State Fire Marshal Jimmy Patronis, and his office sent us this statement reading, "Throughout his time in office, CFO and State Fire Marshal Jimmy Patronis has fought diligently to give Florida's dedicated firefighters access to the cancer benefits they deserve. The department is aware of this situation and is monitoring it closely." Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
All right, turning to our forecast now. Justin, you weren't involved in the 6 o'clock newscast,
No.
but meteorologist Jonathan Keg has said some things that were pretty disturbing.
I have a feeling I know what you're talking about.
Do you in the
Well, I saw his
mostly the
FCC
Panhandle, but
violation.
yeah.
I did see his article that he pinned, and I used it on my Facebook page. I said the S word is being thrown around. And you could break
Nobody
that
wants to
down.
hear that.
Let's get through maybe today, and then. But I know that's probably going to be part of your tease, so sorry for that.
No. You're good.
Okay.
We hide nothing. We hold nothing back here. That's the thing. So in order to get any of the S words when you're talking about whether snow or sleet, you need cold air in place. Well, we have that 1-2 punch. That Arctic blast comes in Sunday into Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So the cold air is going to be here. Then we need the moisture to follow. I don't know that we get sleet in central Florida, but certainly parts of the northern part of the state, and I'll show you a future radar as we get deeper into the forecast at about coming up in about 15 minutes. It's going to be possible. I'm telling you, there's a chance for some wintry precip over the next 7 days. Satellite and radar showing us right now we have the clouds back. As those clouds try to push out of central Florida, it will be a cooler night tonight, colder night tonight, relatively speaking. That'll bring the frost potential back to areas, mainly for us into Marion, Sumter, and into parts of Flagler County. We're at 58 now in Mount Dora, 57 in Leesburg. Temperatures fall a bit quicker as we see the breaks in the clouds to the evening and overnight. We're at 54 by 9. We'll slip to the other side of the 50-degree mark, back to the 40s by 1 o'clock. We'll talk about how cold we get tonight and we'll take a look at some of those S words, guys, at about 6:47.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jonathan. Tonight, new insight into an investigation that's linked a ring of people to drug trafficking, robbery, and firearms charges across Florida.
Yeah, and prosecutors say the suspects graduated to murder, most notably this one, when a woman was kidnapped and killed after this carjacking in Winter Springs in April. Both events have untangled a web of crimes that have led to at least 9 arrests, including one of the victim's husbands. Now, News 6 reporter Catherine Silver has been following this complicated case since the beginning.
As this investigation has expanded, so have the arrests and the information that has been released to the public. Law enforcement had been looking into this drug trafficking ring and the robberies for years before both of the murders. And while we know the killings were not random, we still don't know why the suspects turned on Catherine Aguas Vivas in April.
The murder of Miss Aguas Vivas was not a random act. It is a story that began in 2020 and that played out 4 years later with her brutal murder.
U.S. Attorney Roger Handberg says this indictment tells the story of how drug trafficking and money laundering led to violence. And this video of a carjacking in April is not an isolated incident.
The perpetrators of her murder have a long history of violence that they often committed in partnership with one another and other conspirators.
Detectives say Catherine Aguas Vivas drove from Homestead to Seminole County to pick up $170,000 of drug proceeds. She met Giovanni Crespo Hernandez, who investigators say conspired with Jordanish Torres Garcia and Kevin Ocasio-Justiano to rob and kill her.
It seems like at least one or more of these defendants knew Catherine and were working with her at some point. Do you know why they turned on her?
Why on that particular occasion they decided to follow through and murder her. That's something that will have to come out as the case proceeds in federal court.
But Handberg says they do have pieces of the puzzle. They believe they have the gunman, the driver, and the man who delivered the firearm. The same weapon and car they linked to this murder of a tow truck driver in Taft the day before.
These organizations are like spider webs.
Federal agencies started looking into the ring in 2020.
These defendants then proceeded to reveal their drug distribution network, primarily cocaine, throughout the state of Florida and Puerto Rico.
Investigators say Crespo Hernandez and Torres Garcia were involved, and so was his brother. They partnered with others to commit armed robberies. These photos show them buying law enforcement tactical gear, robbing a known drug dealer in Orlando, and forcing their way into a home in Poinciana.
They confined the 6 victims into a room and began searching their home for valuables. They stole watches, they stole jewelry, which Torres Garcia and Ocasio-Justiano were recorded on video selling at a pawn shop.
Last year, detectives say they were joined in their conspiracy by 3 others. An investigation that has led to 8 arrests, linked to 9 different crimes and now 20 different counts.
And we will not rest. We will not rest until justice is done for the victims and until those who were involved in these crimes are held accountable.
We were the first to tell you one of the key players pled guilty earlier this week. The other defendants are all pending trial. The victim in the carjacking, her husband, was also indicted for his involvement in money laundering. I'm Catherine Silver, Getting Results, News 6.
Today, Governor Ron DeSantis named Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody to replace U.S. Senator Marco Rubio. Rubio is in line to become President-elect Donald Trump's Secretary of State. Moody, a Republican who was first elected Attorney General in 2018, has been a close ally of DeSantis in his fights against the Biden administration on several issues that includes immigration enforcement. DeSantis also said he'll appoint his chief of staff, James Uthmeier, to succeed Moody as Attorney General. DeSantis says Moody understands the gravity of the moment.
Every major battle we have had since I have been governor, she has been with us every step of the way. It's not just talk, it's results.
Moody says she'll fight for Trump's agenda beginning on her first day.
Let's take a look at what's trending right now on Central Florida's #1 news website, clickorlando.com. It's the largest Florida Frog Leg Festival hops into town for a weekend of fun. The 34th annual Fellsmere Frog Leg Festival will kick off Thursday and run through Sunday. The event offers free admission and parking. There will be free shuttles Saturday and Sunday, taking festival goers from Mesa Park to the festival and back. Now, while the food is the main event, serving up thousands of pounds of frog legs and gator there will be carnival rides and live music throughout the event as well. You can find the schedules of event by going to clickorlando.com.
Well, if there's a shortage of frogs, we know where to look.
Oh, I mean, oh my God. I mean, I'm no frogist, but I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat frog
Have you
legs.
tried them?
No, I haven't.
I have not tried them.
And I will not try them.
They look a little too froggy for me because I've seen them, and it's like you can mask gator because you're not like.
But when you have those things splayed out like that, yes, we know what it is.
That's enough for me to say. I'm going to pass. Here are some other stories trending on clickorlando.com. The Moon Man on I-4 has a strange past. Drivers who head westbound near US 17 in Sanford might have caught a glimpse of this 15-foot astronaut statue during their commute. It kind of looks like that classic Moon Man icon used by MTV. Is there a coincidence to that? Well, you can find out if there's a connection by going to our website.
And if you're a big bagel fan, this is really exciting news for you. Orlando-based Jeff's Bagel Run is set to open 13 more shops across Florida. The chain first started in a home kitchen in 2020. Wow, that's really soon. And has since gone on an expansion spree with 83 locations now under its belt. That's crazy. You can find the list of where all the new locations will be by going to clickorlando.com. Wow. I wish them lots of luck, but that is really fast growth.
I'm not quite sure they need any more luck. When you expand that quickly,
I know, that's true.
That is incredible. Although I will say I drive by a Jeff's Bagel Run on the way to work, and there's always people there, and all the way up until like the afternoon hours. So I know they're good.
Yeah, a good toasted, warm bagel.
Nice crisp on the outside,
so
soft on the inside.
So good, yeah.
Not too many of those in Florida, we know that much. Well, Florida ranks low for mental health care access, but a new bill could change that.
Coming up, we'll hear from experts on how the bill might allow psychologists to prescribe medication, filling a crucial gap in care.
You're watching News 6 at 6:30, live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Claremont, Kissimmee, and all of Central Florida.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
access to mental health care in Florida ranks among the worst in the nation.
Yeah, but a new bill could help get much needed mental health medication into the hands who they say may need it the most. News 6's Jarrell Baker shows us how.
Mental Health America ranks the Sunshine State as 40th in the country for access to mental health care. Marty Stallman, president of the Mental Health Association of Central Florida, says one of the reasons for that is due to the lack of psychiatrists available to prescribe medication.
We have probably less than 25 psychiatrists board certified here in Central Florida, and when you look at children and adolescent psychiatry, it becomes even more difficult.
She says for those who are uninsured or on Medicaid, it's even worse.
We're having so many more challenges now because people are struggling with inflation, struggling with higher divorce rates. COVID really impacted our entire society.
House Bill 23 filed this month could get psychologists the ability to prescribe medication.
If this actually comes into fruition, would that mean that your therapist would be able to also to prescribe you drugs as well?
Yeah, so essentially what this bill does is give psychologists the opportunity to go back to school.
State Representative Gallup Franklin, who authored the bill, says instead of going to medical school like psychiatrists, the bill could give psychologists a chance to go for 2 to 3 years of training in pharmacology, assessing, and diagnosing courses to get certified to prescribe certain drugs to patients.
And you won't be able to do everything a psychiatrist can do, right? But you'll have a little bit of wiggle room. And if that's your passion space, you can go fill the void and make a difference.
So in looking at House Bill 23 here, I think that they've defined some really very solid opportunities to answer some of the objections.
Stallman is also a psychologist who has worked since the 90s to get this legislation passed. She says the medical community has been concerned about the training and the qualification it takes to prescribe medication, but she believes this bill would work.
But I do think that there are ways within the legislative process to require substantial retraining or additional training for the individuals that want to go and to become a prescriber.
The legislature will decide if this will move forward when they meet in March. In Orlando, Jarrell Baker, Getting Results, News 6.
All right, let's take you outside right now for one of our favorite places. This is beautiful Mount Dora. We don't see a whole lot of foot traffic out there tonight.
A little too chilly.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
If they think it's chilly now, though.
We got something in store for you. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now. I know we've been kind of talking about this. There is a potential for some S happening in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe not us per se, but I-10 along the Panhandle,
right.
maybe to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Get a little of that
I think so.
Yeah.
That's going to be the highest probability. Even then, it's super rare to get snow. I know it happens a lot more frequently across the Panhandle as they get those Arctic blasts. But it's all going to depend upon where an area of low pressure develops, because the one thing that we often don't have is the cold ahead of the moisture. It's normally the moisture kind of chasing the cold as that front comes through.
We got it all this time.
We have it all this time. So if there's an opportunity for it to happen, it's going to be with this kind of setup. Still, the stars need to align, but it's going to be close. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just 1 second. That's going to be something that happens early next week. So the rain that we have coming through as we get into Saturday into Sunday, that's going to be from the Arctic air that's going to be starting to slide down the peninsula. Right now we have some clouds. Those clouds are going to try to decrease as we move through the rest of the evening and overnight. That's going to open up the opportunity and likelihood for it to be much colder by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Clouds do look like they're going to try to push back in tomorrow quickly, though. There's 5, 6 o'clock, a few breaks in those clouds. As we go through the afternoon, that's lunchtime. I do think we see more sunshine than what we saw today. And again, as expected, we weren't talking about much sunshine this afternoon. There's 5 o'clock on your Friday evening. Here's evidence of our warm-up already underway. You see the extra clouds trying to build already again across parts of southern Florida, South Florida. It's going to push its way up. Maybe a stray shower Friday evening into Saturday morning, but the heavier stuff, the more steady stuff, that starts to work in late in the day on Saturday. 57 right now in Leesburg. We're at 58 in Daytona Beach, 55 in New Smyrna. Now here's a look at your pinpoint, accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
A little colder because we will see less clouds around. We're at 39 in Ocala, 45 in Holopah, Melbourne into West Melbourne. We're back to the low 50s. Same for us in Mico, Palm Bay. Good evening. We're back into the lower 50s as well with a mix of clouds and clear sky. We're at 66 in Claremont. Tomorrow afternoon, 67 in Orlando. with a few of those extra breaks in the cloud cover. Fast forwarding to Saturday, this is what kind of opens up a parade of craziness in the weather department. This is 3 o'clock on your Saturday. Chance for a few stray showers in the mix. We are going to be warm. Temperatures ahead of this front back to the upper 70s. But this is the Arctic boundary that slides through to force up rain and the chance for thunderstorms. That's 5 o'clock on your Sunday. You see the rain around, and then we dry out as that colder air settles in. Now, here's the deal. The colder air is in place. Here is the system that's going to develop. If it wants to stay closer to the Gulf Coast, it's going to be more likely on the rainier side because we will see that warmer air out ahead of this system try to surge back in. But if it wants to develop further south into the Gulf of Mexico, that's what's going to give us a chance for maybe sleet as far south as central Florida. Certainly see the blue here on this run. Now, this is just one run, but I will say a lot of agreement on it, and ensembles when you put different initial conditions into the model and still run out that. There's 51 versions of this European ensemble, and it all says that there's an opportunity anyway for some snow in the Panhandle again, and maybe sleet trying to sneak into central Florida. There's still a lot has to shake out, but it's something that we are watching closely, of course. There's 3 o'clock on Wednesday. The active pattern likely going to continue for most of the week ahead. 78 degrees on Saturday. We're back to the low 70s on Sunday. Rain chances elevated over the weekend, especially again the second half of Saturday. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, it's going to be a very tricky forecast, to say the least, because of the ups and downs going forward. That 53 might end up being too warm, though. It could be in the 40s for highs. It's going to be wild, guys. And then highs stay in the 50s for the rest of the week ahead.
Well, that's why people have to keep watching and keep
That's
tabs
right.
on what you're doing. All right,
That's
thank
right.
you, Jonathan. Well, if you like the party atmosphere of the closed-off roads in downtown Orlando, that will soon be coming to an end. Starting tomorrow, the barricade installations along Orange Avenue will expand to include center lane barricades on Central Boulevard and Pine Street. Roads will remain closed to cars during the phase. Officials have been putting new safety measures in place since the shooting last Halloween where 2 people were shot in the downtown street party.
So late last year, we started a process of really just identifying that the street party atmosphere in downtown really needed to start to diminish, and we wanted to encourage people to patronize businesses and not just come downtown to hang out in the streets.
The goal is to eventually convert Orange Avenue to two-way traffic instead of being just one-way. Well, today was the first day of hearings for 23 downtown bars and nightclubs. The city says were violating their after-midnight alcohol sales permit. Businesses were able to plead their case to avoid having their permit suspended or revoked.
So police claim the establishments failed to meet requirements like using ID scanners, occupancy monitors, and handheld weapons detection systems. 11 bars and nightclubs appeared before the city today. The city dropping its case against one bar, that is Arrow.
Yeah, video from Operation Nightcap showed an undercover officer detailing violations at Proper, one of the few bars not immediately agreeing to a mitigation plan. The city reached agreements with all other businesses, though, ensuring they'll make necessary changes to comply. Tomorrow, 9 more bars will have their chance to present their cases.
With the other 2 venues, which we will discuss, I'm all about admitting and standing here in a public manner, admitting things. Those things were just a little bit something I just felt like I needed to address, and I'm of the opinion that I don't think 3 were shown.
So the city reached agreements with all other businesses, ensuring they'll make necessary changes to comply. Tomorrow, 9 more bars will have their chance to present their cases. Well, we want to hear more about the stories you want us to cover when we head out to Ormond Beach on our next stop for Hits the Road. The series takes our newscast to neighborhoods all across Central Florida. And so you can go to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad right now, fill out the form. We look forward to hearing from you. More than 500,000 TikTok users recently joined the Chinese platform known as Red Notes in a protest against the looming ban. The lifestyle platform, which combines e-commerce and short-form videos, has seen a surge of more than 700,000 new users in just 2 days. The app is already a hit in China and among Chinese communities in Malaysia and Taiwan, boasting 300 million monthly active users. Many, particularly young women, use it as a go-to for product, travel, restaurant tips, along with makeup and skincare tutorials. TikTok plans to shut down for U.S. users on January 19th unless the Supreme Court intervenes.
Wow, that's a lot of money, a lot of,
lot of
businesses.
users?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a big TikTok fan. I will look at it, but I don't really use it. So I don't know if I'll miss it if it's gone, but I don't think it's going to go.
I'm in that camp as well. I think you have such a thirst for it, and I think lawmakers certainly know that if they ban this thing, the mutiny they're going to have on their hands from a lot of people whose livelihoods would be on the line. So I don't see it going away either, and I won't believe it until I see it. I think it's a lot of talk, and somebody could swoop in and buy it. I mean, I did see today that the ByteDance CEO is invited to the inauguration. I don't know. I'm starting to pick up the pieces, connect the dots. I don't know. I'm with you. I'll believe it when I see it.
It's been good for Red Note.
Yeah.
People know about it now. I didn't.
I didn't either.
All right, we'll be right back. And they're going to stay on it.
Of course, we all know how devastating those wildfires have been across Los Angeles, but a unique haven is offering an escape for those seeking a little distraction.
It's a cute escape, too. A cat cafe in Los Angeles is offering free 15-minute cat cuddle sessions to help relieve stress from the city's ongoing wildfires. Crumbs and Whiskers is inviting everyone to enjoy some peaceful time with their rescued cats and kittens. The cafe rescues cats from high-kill shelters, making them friendlier and more adoptable through interaction. It's a win-win for both visitor and, of course, all those cute kitties.
Free cat
what a great
cuddles.
idea.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet.
And especially right now with all they're going through, they need it.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you for watching News 6 at 6:30.
We break news on clickorlando.com. Hope you have a great night. Take care.
Orlando Health strives to offer everyone in our community the best possible care, including those who have rare conditions. Joining us now to discuss one of those is Dr. Joseph Ibrahim with the Orlando Health Medical Group Surgery. Thanks so much for being here with us today, Dr. Ibrahim.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Pleasure to be here.
So you treat everything from hernias to appendectomies. You are a surgeon, and you have come up with a surgery and perform it very successfully for something called MALS. Explain what that is. Tell us what the acronym is and who has it.
Sure. So MALS stands for median arcuate ligament syndrome. Relatively
rare up to this point, but what it is compression of one of the main vessels called the celiac artery that comes off the aorta, gives blood flow to the spleen, the stomach, and the liver. I do seem to see it more in younger females, meaning in the 20s to 40s age group. Historically, it's been a diagnosis of exclusion, right? They've had multiple workups, nothing's come up, and it's kind of been like, hey, let's look at this, maybe this is it. But now with better imaging studies, better prognostic indicators, things like that, better evaluations that are less invasive, we've actually been able to say, hey, this person does have this disease and they would benefit from treatment.
What happens next? Is surgery the next step?
Surgery, unfortunately, right now is the only way to treat this. With this robotic treatment where we go in and actually transect those muscle fibers, transect those nerve fibers, and open up that vessel or allow that vessel to open up, there are no medications that need to be done afterwards. It's an overnight stay, and they really can get back to their normal life pretty quickly.
Earlier, you were telling me about a patient, a young woman who had moles, and her entire life has turned around.
Right. Now, it's very exciting to see how this has changed her life. She came to us with a 4-year duration of just pain and discomfort.
So, Ms. Taylor, you were having a very rough time. You had over 4 years of pain, nausea, vomiting, and you had no idea what was wrong.
No. When they finally did diagnose me with it, I even straight up asked Ibram, was like, is it truly that? And so when he pulled up the x-ray and showed it to me, I went, oh yeah, okay, it's definitely that.
How do you feel about Dr. Ibrahim now?
I love him. He, when I met him, he is the nicest human on planet. He saved my life. He saved everything, because I never thought that there was gonna be an end. And there was.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. It's another reason to choose well with Orlando Health. And if you'd like more information, you can visit orlandohealth.com/general surgery.